I don't want to know. The southwest of the U.S. There's a heat dome approaching or forming over the Arizona, Southern California area that is going to be a huge problem. And evidently what a heat dome is a trapped pocket of CO2. It can't escape. The temperatures are going to build into near 120 degrees. And this is apparently a very, very scary harbinger of global warming, climate change, heating. I can't imagine. Here we sit and it's upper 60s right now. It's been very comfortable all day long and has been all spring so far. We haven't had any major heat. We've got some coming middle to end of this coming week where it's going to be in the 80s. Gee. Well, that's very doable, but here we are in northern Minnesota. We don't get a lot of extra heat like 90s usually. They didn't describe why this heat dome is coming and what is the machinery behind such a heat dome. How rare is it? Is this a one-time ever that we've ever seen? It may be one of the worst they've ever had. A while ago I was listening to National Public Radio and they're talking about abandoned oil wells, and there are hundreds of thousands likely. Nobody really knows for sure how many there are. Apparently they have accounted for maybe 100,000, but these abandoned oil wells are leaking methane into the atmosphere and have been for some of them decades. And methane is 100 times more damaging to the Earth's atmosphere than carbon dioxide. And there are hobbyists going out recreationally searching for abandoned oil wells. And usually what they find are just a pipe coming out of the ground that's open, that has not been capped. And they're talking about the expense of capping an abandoned oil well is $10,000, depending on what the situation is with each one. They're expensive to cap, close off. It's things like that I hear about the CO2 and the methane escaping into the atmosphere that just totally is off the chart as far as us doing anything about reversing climate change. We're far too late. But we've got to get moving. The day before yesterday, Should have been moving on all of this. Of course, we didn't have the technologies that we have now, but once again, is it just too late? That's a redstart. They are doomed around here. had to do this 2 or 3 years ago. The sink was draining very slowly and seemingly so day by day after accumulating for a few months. And this morning I said, yeah, I gotta do it. I gotta go in there, and it's an odious job. I mean, you saw the crap I was pulling out of there by the fingers full. But every couple, 2 or 3 years having to do that, it's not so bad. I've thought about trying to put drain cleaner down there once a week. But the problem with that is it doesn't have any place in the pipes to just sit and soak for an hour or two. You pour it in there, it just runs down through the pipes, except the trap. And the other thing is I hate to dump poison down into the septic. That seems very counterproductive. Killing off the bacteria that's doing its job in the holding tank. Here's our raised on the back of my head. Came around the corner. She's tearing pell-mell up from behind me, and right here, a big object. Turkey took off flying instantly. Insley right underneath it. Oh. You can't have the camera out every single moment. Wow. Thought she was going to catch it there for a second. Well, then what? Down at Otter Pond. Perfect place to be on a 74-degree, mostly overcast late afternoon. Got the big pile of birch bark unloaded from the fire ring, which I knew when I began to put it in there. I'm splitting wood, and all the big hunks peel off, and I got to put it somewhere. So I'm thinking I'll burn just a little bit at a time. Before long it piles up. So I hauled it back into the woods. Continued to split. Insley was off. She is really exploring, hunting quietly now, as opposed to a year ago. She was hunting loudly, energetically. And I probably showed you already where she's found a place on the south side of the parking area that has her really curious, and she is there's nothing there that's visible to me. She apparently is hearing subterranean sounds of gophers. I don't know. I'm mystified by this. But she is spending an hour there. And for a lot of it, she's standing. A hind paw up, front paw up. For a while she lays down. She'll change position. She'll go 4 feet away, turn and stare at that ground. I don't know what's going on. But a little bit of a worry has crept in, and I'm being reminded of about exactly a year ago. We have rabbits in the yard, hiding in the woods, the underbrush. And rabbits have babies. And this afternoon, sitting, taking a break from splitting wood, I looked down the path that I just mowed yesterday, or the day before, or the week before, that goes down to the north meadow. And here comes this little animal hopping along toward me. When I first saw it, it was probably 50 feet away, and it got more obvious. Baby rabbit. I mean, the thing was maybe that long, about the same size as the one last year that Insley caught and killed. Well, Insley was off, down in that woodsy area, as far as I knew. The thing hopped up right out in the open where I'm looking at it. It's looking at me, hopping along. Went right along the edge, the mowed edge of the front garden area, toward the house, down the path beside the south side of the house then, and under the deck. And I was trying desperately to get the camera out. And then I saw it 2 more times within 10 minutes. One time it came around the corner of the woodshed, right 8 feet away, and looked up at me, turned and went back wherever it had been. I got up and went and looked for Insley. I mean, this thing can hide under the woodsheds if it's quick enough, intelligent enough to do that, but got up and went to see if I could find where Insley was. Well, she has missed a couple times in the last week, and they must have been baby bunnies back then too. They're far enough away I could see them, scampering along. She was, at one point, she was guarding her mystery area with her back to the baby that ran through the woods splitting area and back into the woods. Oh my God. And I had to come to grips with the fact that this baby bunny is a sitting target for all manner of prey animals or birds. It's a food source for most animals. That's why bunnies breed so prolifically. So I can't be shocked if when tomorrow she comes walking up to me carrying a dead bunny rabbit. I can't prevent it. There's no way I'm going to try to prevent it. Keep her in the house, keep her leashed outside. I'm not going to do it. I can't do it. What would you do? Tell me your thoughts, because this is one I want to protect the baby bunnies. But then here I am, a human, interfering in the natural world's order. And consciously, I can't do that either. I have to let the world order live the way the world order orders. I don't want to have to bury a baby rabbit again. I will, if needs be. And where are the turtles? all of the turtles that I've seen in Otter Pond, they're here. And why aren't they coming up to the driveway like they do every June? I will see 4 to 6 of them per year. They come up and they dig a hole, lay their eggs in the sandy driveway, and this year is perfect for that. They couldn't back in 2021. A few tried, and because of the drought, the ground was so hard they couldn't get nests made. But this year, with all the moisture, where are they? I see one, the head of one right now in Otter Pond. And the lack of mosquitoes is still, they're around now. I've gotten a handful of mosquito bites, but I haven't had to spray myself at all yet. It's wonderful. I know I was complaining earlier. It's a food source for the dragonflies and the bats, which I haven't seen any this year at all. Did I see some last year briefly? I go out about 9:15, just when it's beginning to get dark. I think that was later in the year, like in July when it gets dark a little bit earlier. Right now I'm heading for bed at 9:15. It's broad daylight out yet.